Next on Worcester News Tonight, Memorial Day weekend is officially here. Local law enforcement keeping an eye on roads for drunk drivers. Plus, dozens of high school students getting a chance to showcase their work at WPI Friday. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. Tonight we're hearing from local law enforcement on the dangers of drinking and driving. On the heels of summer, Memorial Day weekend has become one of the biggest times of the year for consuming alcohol, as well as one of the most deadly to be on the roads. Our Cam Jandro has more.
Anna, one liquor store tells me they stocked up specifically for this weekend because once Memorial Day hits, their sales increase significantly. I caught it with the Worcester Police Department today because they say they're going to have their eye on the road all weekend. For O'Hara's Wines and Liquors, Memorial Day weekend starts their biggest season of the year. Owner Jim Vasiladis expects the next few days to be a big boost for his business.
We more than increase about 30 to 40% of our business because of the holiday season here. So we hope for good weather.
The Worcester store expects to see hundreds walk in the front door throughout the holiday weekend. And even with large numbers of customers, Vasiladis says the store keeps safety the top priority.
We check IDs year round. There is no difference between now and or any other time of the year. That's our job.
The National Safety Council estimates more than 400 people will be killed on U.S. roadways between May 25th and 28th. They say impaired driving plays a significant role in those numbers. Here in Worcester, the police department says they're keeping an eye out for drunk drivers.
We are going to be paying particular attention to drunk drivers. We are going to have extra details down by the bar areas at night throughout the weekend, supporting our operation officers.
Worcester Police says a driver may not feel the effects of alcohol immediately.
Oh, I'm not drunk, but I've just had a couple, I'm fine. In reality, you're not. You're beyond a .08 most likely, and that's going to get you arrested. And maybe consider an Uber or a taxi cab or anything but driving behind the wheel.
Now, driving under the influence means much more than just consuming alcohol. It also means the consumption of marijuana as well as other drugs. Like Sergeant Hazelhurst said, if you do plan on having a few this weekend, make sure you have an alternative way home. Anna, back to you.
Thanks, Cam. Some good advice there. Well, thousands heading to their Memorial Day destinations today, while some are waiting until tomorrow. AAA Northeast says despite the high gas prices, they expect this to be one of the busiest Memorial Day weekends in more than 10 years. Our Rosalind Flaherty has more.
Drivers hit the road for Memorial Day weekend. According to AAA Northeast, it will be one of the busiest traveling holidays in 13 years.
In Massachusetts, we are projecting that more than 1 million Mass residents will travel this Memorial Day holiday weekend, and of those, about 900,000 or so will drive.
Drivers Friday say they wanted to get going early to avoid backups.
It's not traffic now, but I'm sure by evening should be the traffic.
They are a little congested, not too bad.
AAA says the high gas prices won't impact travel, but do say they are seeing the highest Memorial Day prices since 2014.
People will have to contend with prices at the pump that are a little higher.
People filling up are noticing. Durf McTighe is traveling from New Jersey to Boston for a wedding, spending $50 on a tank of gas.
I haven't paid $50 for gas, for a tank of gas, and I couldn't tell you when. So yeah, it's definitely up there.
AAA recommends people use apps to show real drive times to make the trip faster and more convenient.
There's no point sitting in a 5-mile backup on the Mass Pike in Worcester if you can sit in a 1-mile backup.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
A summit held in Worcester tonight centers a discussion around inequitable problems in schools. Let's Get Vocal is an annual summit put on by the Latino Education Institute at Worcester State University and is completely youth-led. This year's theme is Education Inequity. Organizers put together different workshops to discuss how school systems have different forms of this within them and how to promote equality.
The abuse that's been happening in school systems, like the underprivileged stuff that comes from race or power, from teacher to student, teacher to teacher, and even student to student. It's just something that we need to discuss, and we need to find ways to actually help ourselves improving our education system.
For the past 6 months, youth leaders have been planning and creating workshops for these topics discussed at tonight's summit. A man is sentenced to 6 years in prison Friday after pleading guilty to a 2015 fire in Worcester. 31-year-old Kevin Crozier pled guilty to arson charges in the New Year's Day fire at his home on Dixfield Road. 2 others have also pleaded guilty but are awaiting sentencing. A police investigation found the 3 agreed to burn down the home where Crozier lived with his girlfriend. One of the men told prosecutors it was for insurance money. Meantime, Crozier's girlfriend, Sabrina Hathaway, has been missing since 2014. A Worcester man taking things into his own hands early Thursday morning when police say someone broke into his car. Neighbors tell us the victim is the landlord at a building on Vernon Street. Police say he confronted the burglar who was ransacking his car shortly after midnight. The would-be robber punched the victim and swung a box cutter at him. One neighbor says he heard the fight outside.
You don't expect stuff like that. We haven't had stuff like that happen around here in a long time. He's a good guy. You know, he's really a nice guy. You know, quiet. You know, doesn't bother anybody.
The suspect, 49-year-old Mark Healy, is facing multiple charges, including assault and battery on a person over 60 and breaking and entering a motor vehicle. The town of Berlin is adding a new vehicle to their fleet. They'll soon have a utility task vehicle for search and rescues, forest fires, and transporting patients. The vehicle will be purchased through Senate funding and shared between the town, police, and fire departments. The fire department says the town has been trying to secure funding for it for 2 years. Dozens of high school students getting a chance to showcase their work at WPI Friday. It's all part of the Mass STEM Hub High School Showcase. Students are able to share their project designs with STEM professionals. Several students were also recognized who plan on studying a STEM discipline.
Our mission is to help schools adopt proven cutting-edge programs in the STEM areas. And so we work directly with schools to help make sure they have all the resources and support that they need.
It gets people interested in engineering more. Like, it helps to see what we're doing in Project Lead the Way courses. It helps promote Mass STEM Hub, what we're trying to get done here.
This is the 2nd year in a row Mass STEM Hub has hosted a high school showcase. After days of debate, the Massachusetts Senate has finally passed the budget for the 2019 fiscal year. This year's budget comes out to $41.49 billion. $88 million of it has been set aside for regional transit authorities and the establishment of a task force on RTA performance and funding. It provides more than $100 million for emergency assistance and family shelter. There's also significant funding for elementary and secondary education, including more than $500 million for the University of Massachusetts, as well as community colleges and other state universities. A committee is now working out the differences between the Senate and House versions.